Whoa, there he goes. The world's loudest pigeon lives on my terrace. That was startling. I was not ready. Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing something that I think you guys are going to enjoy because everybody loves a roll until you get too excited and then roll and burn yourself and burn the skin off your body. But apart from that, everybody loves a roll. Rolls are fun. But seriously, rolls are super fun. They're also a great way to connect choreography, to add some dynamics to your routine. And some of them are really, really great transitions for moving around the hoop. For example, moving from below the hoop to inside the hoop. There's a great roll for that. There's a roll for everything. I love a roll. That's pretty much the gist of what is happening here. Before we get started, I will remind you that rolls can, I won't say will, but I'm saying can give you some little burns. So you might want to wear something with long sleeves that kind of protects your rib cage area for some of these rolls that we're doing. Also make sure that you're protecting the backs of your knees because we're going to be rolling on our knees a little bit too. It's nothing too crazy, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So that's the deal. Let's get on the hoop. Okay, we're going to start out with a simple but really useful roll that we've done on this channel a few times before, so it might be familiar. It's the pocket roll. I'm going to start from a cradle position and then place my hands in front of me with my palms facing each other like I'm going to clap. Next, I place my hands between my knee and my hip. Whatever knee is hooked on the hoop, that should be the hand that's in front. So for me, that's my right knee and my right hand. And then I'm going to roll my shoulders forward, keeping that knee bent so that it circles around the hoop and rehooks on the bottom, and I end up in a Delilah on the bottom of the hoop. You can bend the bottom leg also, but I prefer to keep it straight because I think it looks prettier. Next up, we're going to do a carousel roll. You can do a half or a full version of this one. The half is pretty simple, and we're starting from where we just finished, which is below the hoop in a Delilah. Basically, you're going to walk your hands up the side of the hoop. Try to do no more than 2 or 3 steps. We want to keep it simple. You also want to place your hands close to the top of the hoop. I would say at least about, say, 10 o'clock. Then you're going to take your free leg, throw it through the center of the hoop. I'm thinking about placing the hoop on my upper thigh close to my hip, and bring your body around so that you're facing the hoop. This leaves you in a position to come back into the center of the hoop if you want to sit, if you want to go into your next move. It's a great transition and really, really useful for choreography. So that was the half, but now let's look at the full carousel roll. I'm going to start it out in exactly the same way, but then when I throw my leg through the center of the hoop, I'm going to pull up with my arms and let my body follow my leg through the center of the hoop, so I end up on the opposite side of the hoop with my opposite leg hooked in front of me. Be sure to pull up with your arms as you pass through the center of the hoop so you don't roll with your weight over, let's say, a very sensitive area. Also, I think it's really important to do big arm circles as I'm doing those steps to go up so it doesn't look like I'm just clawing my way up the side of the hoop. Now we've come back up into the center of the hoop. Let's roll right back down again with a basic forward roll. This is important because first off, it gets you used to rolling forward, which can be a little scary. It's very counterintuitive for humans. And secondly, it's an important transition for other dynamics and other rolls in the future. We're going to start, like I said, from inside the hoop. I'm going to take one leg out the back of the hoop, and I just want to take a minute here to say that it's important if you're taking a leg out the back or if you're doing a transition that's very utilitarian, it's just for the next move, you still want to make it pretty. So point that foot, don't slump your back forward, don't look down at your belly button. Try to make it graceful and beautiful, even if it's just a transition. Next, I'm moving my head to the front of the hoop and then taking my hands down one and then the other with my palms facing forward. And I roll forward, keeping my knee bent so it naturally will hook on the bottom. And then I try to shake all of my hair that has fallen into my face out of my eyes. There we go. Now we're going to move on to one of my very favorite rolls that is basically the reverse of the forward roll we just did. It's the Russian roll. Yay! The key to Russian rolls is hand placement. For me, that means about 3/4 of the way down the side of the hoop for each hand. But if your Russian roll is not working, try moving your hands. That's most likely the problem. The very first step in learning your Russian roll is to learn to do beats on the bottom of the hoop. With each beat, as I swing back and forth, I'm trying to do half of a circle with my body. So I'm not just going up and down, I'm also going forward and back. You can see how especially my hips are circling around the bottom bar of the hoop here. I'm also thinking about using my abs and pulling up with my arms each time I go up for power. And finally, I'm going to throw that front leg through the center of the hoop, pull up with my arms, use my abs to lift up my body, flap my hair back, and I come into the center of the hoop. Once you're able to get up into the hoop, you can try doing it with less rolls every time until finally you're ready for the next step, starting with no rolls at all, just going from the bottom into the hoop. Then after that, you can try with a gentle spin. Spinning does make it a lot harder, but practice will help you get the knack of it. So keep at it, don't give up. And finally, you can try doing the roll from sitting inside the hoop, dropping down, using your weight to go down and build the momentum to bring yourself back up into the hoop. This is how you prepare to do multiple Russian rolls. If you're interested in learning multiples, I have a tutorial for that on my channel, so check out the aerial tutorials playlist. Actually, I've got tutorials for all of these rolls on my channel, so if you want more in-depth explanations, then go check out those videos. Now we're going to move on to two more advanced rolls, starting with the snake roll. I'm going to do a version today where I'm holding the hoop just above my shoulder with my hand, but you could also do a snake roll with both hands behind your back. I'm starting in a cradle, and like I said, I'm grabbing just above my shoulder, slightly higher than my head, keeping my elbow nice and bent and putting my opposite hand behind my back. Next, I'm going to take my free leg on the bottom, bring it up with power, and throw it through the center of the hoop, kind of similar to the carousel roll we did earlier. And then use my upper arm that's holding the hoop to pull myself around. Again, if you did this with both hands behind your back, you could just use your momentum to get around. I find this upper arm version a little bit easier. However, it does require more shoulder flexibility. So you can try both ways, see which one suits you better. If you're doing this holding onto the hoop with your hand version, I do recommend warming up your shoulder a lot and also the sides of your body. Once you've mastered it in static, you can add it with a spin. I think that's a really fun version. And then you can start adding multiples. And finally today, it's the main event, the king and the villain of all the rolls. It's the lion roll. I'm going to show you two transitions into it. The first one requires a little less flexibility, but any transition into lion roll is going to need a little bit of hip and hip rotation flexibility. In this version, we're going to start from Amazon, classic Amazon, and then take your outside leg, place your toes about halfway up the side of the hoop, and you're going to use that leg to push against the hoop. Next, bringing up that other leg and hooking not the ankle, but the calf, the lower part of the calf, onto the hoop. You want to have it above your ankle or it's going to hurt a lot. Finally, I'm moving my arm and putting it behind the hoop so the hoop is in my armpit, and I can unhook that front leg and I'm ready to roll. This is my basic lion roll setup position. My other option requires a little bit more flexibility, but if you're a bendy person, it is quite fun. I'm starting from Man in the Moon. I'm going to take off my top leg, that is the leg on the opposite side from my head, and trap it with my hand, then slide my other leg out and grab it with my other hand from the inside so I can do this nice straddle position. This is a really fun one. I think it's cute just by itself. From there, I've already got my hand on my bottom leg, so I can use that hand to help bring my leg onto the hoop and place it again on sort of the lower calf area. And finally, I'm going to let go of that top hand, pass my arm to the other side of the hoop, and I'm in my prep position. For the roll itself, I'm going to throw my arm back, look back with my head, arching my back, and use that momentum of my arm and my head to bring my body through the hoop. It's very important to keep your elbow bent. You can see I'm grabbing the hoop with my hand and using my bent elbow to kind of wedge my arm back onto the hoop. That's what lets me bring my torso back up. And finally, I can slide out of it down into my Delilah and then breathe and just be glad that I survived. Lion roll is one that can be very painful when you're learning it, but there is hope once you learn the movement and you're able to do it a little bit faster and smoother. It is much less painful. It's still painful, but it's much less painful. Also, it's really just a beautiful move. I really love doing this one. Even with the pain, I think it's still gorgeous. Be sure also to keep that back leg behind you. Don't let it get out to the side because that's going to really make your lines go a bit weird. Well, I hope you had fun doing some rolls with me. I really enjoy rolls, and they're just great. They're a great genre of aerial hoop move. So if you enjoyed doing these rolls, please take a minute to like this video and also subscribe to my channel because I've got so many more tutorials happening on here. There's tutorials for individual moves, and then there's more sort of general groups of moves like we did today. So take a minute to subscribe. It's easy and free and quick, and it really helps me out. And with that, I'm gonna see you guys next time.